When I was young, at my oldest brother's wedding, the officiating priest told a story, and this story shaped my idea of what true love is and how a marriage should be. In the story, there was a couple that loved each other deeply, but they were having financial challenges, barely able to make ends meet. So, they did not afford luxuries. The wife had long, beautiful hair, but she could not buy products to maintain the hair. The husband, on the other hand, had a very beautiful, expensive watch that he inherited from his father. But the wristband for this watch was broken, and so he often carried the watch in his pocket because he could not buy another strap. One day, when the husband left for work, the wife went to a salon. She cut her hair and she sold it to buy a wristband for the watch of the husband. On the way from work, the husband stopped at a pawn shop where he sold his wristwatch, and he used the money to buy hair products for the wife. On getting home, he called her to his wife, intending to surprise her with his gift. But he was shocked, surprised, when his wife appeared without her hair. "What happened to your hair?" he asked. "I have a gift for you," the wife said. She handed him the band of the wristwatch. "Bring out your watch so that we can try it on." But the husband handed her the hair products. He explained that he had sold his watch to buy hair products for her. The two of them embraced each other. Their hearts swelled with love for each other, appreciation for each other, because each one of them had sacrificed what they valued for the other person. It seemed that it was all a waste on the surface, but each one of them paid attention to the sacrificial love behind each of their acts. Philippians chapter 2, verse 3 to 4 says, "Do nothing out of selfish ambition. Rather, in humility, value others above yourselves, not looking to your own interests, but each to the interests of the others." In the story I just told you, none of the couple waited for the other person to act first. They did not keep score. None of them asked, "Why should I be the one to give up what I value for the other person?" Each one of them put the needs of the other person ahead of their own. That is true love. Have you ever asked yourself, why am I always the one reaching out? Why do I feel like I'm carrying this relationship alone? Why am I giving so much and receiving so little? If you've ever asked any of these questions, you are not alone. Most of us have been taught that a healthy relationship is supposed to be 50-50. Equal effort, equal sacrifice, equal everything. But life doesn't work that way. Relationships don't exist in perfect conditions. They move through storms. They move through seasons. There are seasons of uncertainty in life, seasons of disappointment, grief, illness, career changes, financial pressure, parenting problems, emotional exhaustion. During those storms, one person may have to give more, and the other person is just trying to stay afloat. The question to ask is this: How do we find balance that yields peace when the relationship is tested by life's storm? That's where reciprocity comes in. Not reciprocity as in 50-50, the way most people say it, but a way of acting in love, grace, and also having hope in our relationship, even when life feels challenging. So today, we're exploring how give and take can become a pathway of finding light and peace through the storms in our relationships. Imagine two people caught in the middle of a storm at sea. None of them will be asking who rowed more yesterday. Instead, they are asking, how do we get home safely? That is how healthy relationship, healthy reciprocity, a give and take, that's how it looks like in a relationship. It's not about keeping score. It's not about who did this and who didn't do that. Rather, it's about everyone doing their best to support the relationship. And so reciprocity, give and take, isn't saying, I'll love you only if you love me first. Rather, it will be saying, when you are struggling today, I'll carry what I can. And when my storm comes, I know that you will help me. Ecclesiastes chapter 4, verses 9 to 10 says, two are better than one. If either of them falls, one can help the other up. So this means that in different seasons, somebody may need to carry more than the other person because their circumstances are different. That is the kind of trust in a relationship that brings about peace and bonding, where the relationship can grow, with each person trusting the other person to do their best. One of the biggest relationship trends today, especially in the social media, is using phrases like matching their energy. This matching energy means protecting themselves from a one-sided relationship. But what if we are choosing to multiply grace instead of matching energy? I'm not asking that you should encourage selfishness in your relationship. But the question is whether the other person is doing the best within the limits of their ability, the resources that are available for them in that relationship. In 2 Corinthians chapter 8, verse 12 to 13, it says, for if the willingness is there, the gift is acceptable according to what one has, not according to what one does not have. Our desire is not that others might be relieved while you are hard pressed, but that there might be equality. What is this passage saying? This means that God values willingness and proportional giving over equal amounts. So it's not about the quantity, the amount that each person is given. We see that in the story that Jesus told about the widow's mite. The widow had only 2 pennies, and she gave them all. And her gift was considered far more valuable, that she gave far more than all the people that put in large sums of money, because those people gave only a portion of what they had. But this woman gave all. So with God, and the way it should be in a relationship, is that each person should put in the effort, the resources, based on what they have, based on their abilities. In Matthew chapter 25, verse 14 to 23, the parable of the talents, Jesus told the story of a master that gave talents to the servants. The servants were not praised for the quantity of their results, because each one got different amounts from the others. But they were praised for being faithful, based on the amount that they had. And the master said, "Well done, good and faithful servant. You have been faithful over a little. I will set you over much." So it is about proportion. Because we don't have the same gifts, we don't have the same abilities, we don't have the same talents, we don't have the same amount of resources. So it is important that we recognize the difference between someone who doesn't care and someone who does not have much, or someone who is simply overwhelmed about life. Sometimes your partner isn't given less because they love you little or that they love you less. Sometimes they are carrying on a storm that you cannot see. And this is where communication comes in. The storms could be stress, grief, fear, burnout, anxiety. Whatever the storm may be, it is very important that we pay close attention and understand the situation of our partner. Understand what they are going through before we begin judging them. So reciprocity here is more than putting in equal effort. It is about giving grace to your partner when they need it. It is about checking to see if the other person is putting the effort in the areas where they can. That is what is important. Many of us carry many burdens that no one can see. We may look okay on the outside. If someone asks us, "How are you doing?" we say, "Wonderful." But we may be carrying storms on the inside. Our minds are constantly working on overdrive. We are running a checklist of things that we have to do. How to make ends meet. How to deal with difficult challenges that we are facing. These invisible storms, they often will weigh us down, weigh so heavily, much more than the visible ones. And so, sometimes what your partner may need is not necessarily a grand gesture. It may simply be that you say to them, "I see how much you've been carrying," or "I understand the challenge that you're going through." When you tell them these words, you find out that it may matter to them more than anything else at that particular time. The fact that you even noticed and that you appreciate the situation that they are going through is often good enough. It brings peace to the person and also to the relationship. Some people believe that peaceful couples never struggle. That is a very big misconception, because the opposite is the case. Peace is found in a relationship because the two people decide to join forces together. Forces to face the storm together, not alone. Sometimes you find out that you're strong. You are the strong one, carrying the relationship. But at another time, you may need someone to lean on. And so healthy reciprocity The give and take in a relationship isn't a day-to-day thing. It is measured over a long period of time, of taking turns, of being the strong one in a relationship. Because supporting each other when they need it is what is important. It prevents burnout, exhaustion. And relationship is about partnership. Partnership in navigating the storms of life together. So, before we close today's conversation, I would like to ask you a few questions. Where in your relationship can you be more like a lighthouse rather than the scorekeeper? What unseen storm might your partner be facing today? And how can you support them? What storm are you yourself carrying that your partner may not know about? And perhaps the most important question of all is this: have you ever considered what will happen if both of you focus more on helping each other find the light and peace through the storms of life in your relationship? I want you to remember that every relationship will experience storms. That's a fact of life. No one can escape them. But storms shouldn't define our relationships. They can refine it. They can make it better, just as fire refines gold. Remember that Jesus says that He will be with us through the storms of life. He didn't promise us a life that is free of problems, but His presence will give us peace to go through those problems. And that is why we need to stick together, inviting the peace of God into our hearts and into our relationship. The storms of life can be good because they can teach us good things like patience, compassion instead of comparison, grace instead of keeping score, hope instead of resentment. Love makes you into the kind of person who brings light in the darkness, the one who offers peace to others when life feels overwhelming, the person who is thinking about others above yourselves. The strongest relationships are built not on two people that are perfect, but no, it is built on two imperfect people that are walking close together, walking together to navigate the raging storms of life. People that choose each other in good times and in bad times. Thank you today for joining me. Until next time, may you continue to seek and become the source of light and peace through the storm in your relationship. And may God be with you. May He strengthen you. May He give you peace and joy in your relationship. May He be at the center of your relationship as you continue to walk together in partnership, navigating the storms of life. Follow Light and Peace Through the Storm on Podbean, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and all major podcast platforms. To stay connected, visit ceciliapublished.com. You can also find me on YouTube, Facebook, and TikTok. Just search for @Light and Peace Pod.